Greetings, YouTube. The Doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons and Dragons. And today we are going to talk about the spell Eyebite. I've got the Legacy version up here, but we are going to talk about the first edition, second edition, third edition, the Legacy version, and we're going to compare that all to the new 2024 version because there have been some changes that have taken place to this spell. But first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or comment. Don't forget to share, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. All right, let's get into it. Here we have the Legacy version of the spell back in the day. I gave this spell an S. I love this spell. I think it is awesome. I like anything that debuffs and puts conditions on creatures, especially the conditions that this one does. All right, let's take the arrow and let's move it over here. And let's go through the spell. So the Legacy version was a 6th level. It was 1 action. It has range of self, which was you. Verbal and somatic components. It lasted for a minute, which is perfect. It is concentration, so you do have to worry about that. And it's wisdom saving throws. And it was usable by bards, sorcerers, warlocks, and wizards. Pretty cool. So for the duration, your eyes become an inky void imbued with dread power. One creature of your choice within 60 feet. You look at them. They have to make a save, wisdom save, which is a great thing to target. On each of your turns until the spell ends, you can use your action to target another creature, but cannot target a creature again if it has succeeded on a saving throw against the casting of Eyebite. So you basically have to do it against a different creature, and they are eliminated or immune if they have made a saving throw. And you got 3 conditions that you can put on them. Asleep, panicked, sickened. And asleep was the ever famous unconscious, meaning they were speed 0. All attacks had advantage against them. They automatically failed dex and strength saving throws. Can you say disintegration? Crits, if they were within 5 feet and they are unaware of anything. They have no actions. So incapacitated and prone. It wakes up if it takes any damage. Panicked. The target is frightened of you. On each of its turn, the frightened creature must take the dash action. This is in addition to being frightened. It has to take the dash action and move away from you by the safest and shortest available route. The target moves to a place at least 60 feet away from where it can no longer see you. The effect ends. Didn't make a saving throw. The effect ended. And then sickened. The target has disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks. At the end of each turn, it can make another wisdom saving throw. If it succeeds, this effect ends. So, sickened, it gets a saving throw every turn. Asleep, it's 1 save, and then they're unconscious for a minute. Panicked, there's 1 save, and then they're frightened. So all of those things are bad, and then you can keep doing this if you have multiple targets to go after. So this is why I get, these are, one of these effects ends a combat, which is the asleep. Sickened is sicken, it's sick. And then panicked is very bad, especially since it's frightened and running. Okay, so let's take a look at the new version because there was a significant change with this version. Still 6th level, still 1 action, still self, still verbal somatic, still concentration, still 1 minute, still usable by bards, sorcerers, warlocks, and wizards. Still wisdom saves. So for the duration, eyes get black. 1 creature you can see within 60 feet of you must make a wisdom saving throw or be affected by one of the following conditions for the duration. On each of your turn until the spell ends, you can take a magic action to target another creature, but cannot target a creature that if it has succeeded on a save. So that's all the same. Asleep, unconscious. Wakes up if it takes any damage, or if another creature takes an action to shake it awake. That didn't change. Panicked. The target has a frightened condition on each of its turns. it must take the dash action. So that's a little bit different. So if we look at this one, well, they highlighted it. So it's hypertext in the 2024, whereas in the legacy version, it's not highlighted. So it's highlighted here. They have to take the dash action and move away from you, the shortest route, etc., etc. Here's where the change happened. Sickened, the target now has the poisoned condition. And that's super important that they use that particular word. So sickened before was just disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks. And then they got to make a saving throw. Now it's poisoned, which, let's look at the poison. Here it is in the rules glossary. While you have the poison condition, you experience the following. You have disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks. So it says exactly the same thing. So I guess you're asking yourself, Doc, why is that important? Well, here's why it's important. This is why it's important right here. Summon undead. Because if something is poisoned and you summon the putrid undead, if the target has the poison condition, right here, it has the paralyzed condition until the end of its next turn, right there. So you eyebite them, you poison them. Now, somebody else is going to have this spell up because this is a concentration spell. So it is a concentration spell that is usable by warlocks and wizards. So if you happen to have a warlock or wizard, there are some ways of other classes getting this spell. If you happen to have somebody that has this spell in the group and you have Eyebite, you need to be using this together so that you can get this paralyzed on. So if the target has the poison condition, has the paralyzed condition until the end of its next turn, it's got to hit with its rotting claw, which isn't too hard considering it is the bonus equal to the spell attack modifier. So that in itself, again, this really didn't change too much. It's still an S. It's still absolutely an S level spell. It will end a combat, and now it's just worse because they added the poison condition. All right, so let's take a look at a couple of classes that go along with this. And these new changes in these classes make this particular spell, Eyebite, worse as well. Sorcerer. Sorcerers can use Eyebite. Sorcerers get innate sorcery, meaning they can raise the DC of the saving throws by 1. That's awesome. They also get meta magic, which means they can heighten a spell. When you cast a spell that forces a creature to make a saving throw, you can spend 2 sorcery points and give one target of the spell disadvantage on saves, plural, against the spell. That's awesome. So that's one way of getting around all this. Wizards can also use this spell too. And why is it important for wizards? Because of Portent. You roll a low d20. You give it to them. They have now failed their save. And they are subject to whichever thing you want on there. Whether they're asleep, whether they're sickened, whether they're panicked. Doesn't matter, but you get to choose. And that will pretty much end a combat right there. And finally, Bard. And when we talk about bards, we always talk about the College of Eloquence. And we're talking about unsettling words, where you can use your bardic inspiration. As a bonus action, you give somebody a penalty to their saving throw. Blam, they fail to save for Eyebite, and they're subject to the 3 different things that you can do. All right, this actually has been around since 1st edition. So here is, I'm going to move myself over here. Ooh. You can see, I'm going to move myself right to there. So this is from the Unearthed Arcana. Let's get rid of the arrow here now. This is from the Unearthed Arcana. And it was a 6th level spell back then, had a range of 20 feet. Enables the caster to merely meet the gaze of his or her subject and speak a single word to cause the dwarmer. Gary Gygax loved to use the word dwarmer. I love that word too. To be effectuated. And he always used these. I think he had like a dictionary open and just went through the dictionary. And with a single spell, the caster can choose which particular effect to strike the subject, but the Eyebite spell is then dissipated. So there's a saving throw. It talks about what the save is. So you could charm them. So the effect to make the charm subject absolutely loyal and docile with respect to the charmer, even to the point of personal danger. So this was, because this was 6th level, this was bad. And otherwise functions the same as charm person and charms monster. A successful saving throw versus spell negates this effect. Fear, you can cause fear. With a single word, the subject will act as if struck by the fear spell. And sicken enables the casters merely gaze at the subject, speak a word, and cause sudden nausea. The victim will be at 1/2 normal abilities. So 1/2 strength and intelligence from pain and fever. Movement is 1/2 normal rate, and the victim will have to rest half of each turn in order to be able to move at all. Saving throw versus spell will negate the power of the Dwarmer. Otherwise, the victim will remain struck by the sickness, losing 1 actual point of constitution per day until the spell occurs at 0, until death occurs at 0 constitution points. The effects are negated. So this was a nasty spell. And then there was sleep. The magic user can cause any individual to fall into a comatose slumber by means of gaze and a single word unless the subject makes a saving throw versus spell. Creatures normally subject to the 1st level spell sleep save at -2. That would be like regular humanoids and demi-humans and humans. Undead are not subject. So this spell was nasty in Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. Now, it also was in 2nd edition, and it really didn't change very much in 2nd edition. So here it is in 2nd edition. All creatures other than humans, demi-humans, and humanoids save at +2 for the charm. Fear caused the subject that they gave a little bit more description about what the fear did. I'm going to move myself over now. And so there was a little bit more descriptions about what things did here, how many rounds they fleed, all of that. And then the sicken enables the caster to merely gaze, all the half damage now. Movement, the subject remains stricken for 1 turn per level of the caster. So it wasn't as nasty. They kind of nerfed this a little bit. They didn't die. And then sleep was basically the same as the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons one. And then this also translated into 3rd edition. So here's the 3rd edition one. 6th level bard, sorcerer, wizard spell, verbal somatic, 1 standard action, close range, 1 living creature each round. Duration was 1 round every 3 levels, so you had to be 11th level to cast this spell, so it would last for 3 rounds. When you first could task it as a fortitude save, so they changed the saving throws. Each round you may target a single living creature, striking it with waves of evil power depending on its hit die, so that's a change. This attack has as many as 3 effects. So if they were 4 hit dice or less, they comatose, panic, and sickened. They were 5 to 9 hit die, panic, and sickened, and 10 or more, they were sickened. So if they were sickened, sudden pain and fever sweeps over the subject's body. A sickened creature takes a -2 penalty to attack rolls, damage rolls, saving throws, skill checks, and ability checks. A creature affected by this spell remains sickened for 10 minutes per caster level. The effects cannot be negated by a remove disease or heal, but a remove curse is effective. Panicked, which they had to be 9 hit die or less for panicked. Not sure how they can be panicked and comatose. I guess panic lasted longer. So the subject becomes panicked for 1 to 4 rounds. Even after the panic ends, the creature remains shaken for 10 minutes and is automatic. Panic basically meant that they ran. And then, comatose. So let's move my head down a little bit here. So comatose, the subject falls into a catatonic coma for 10 minutes per caster level. It's a long time. During this time, it cannot be awakened by any means short of dispelling the effect. This is not a sleep effect. So then the spell lasts for 1 round per 3 caster levels. You must, and that was for the purposes of targeting several creatures. You must spend a move action each round after the first target to target a foe. So pretty good spell all around. This spell really has not lost its flavor for what it does. It's an awesome spell. It's always been an awesome spell. It's always done great things. It's always been a combat ender. It still is. Giving it the poison condition makes it even better. So this is a go-to spell for me, and it's still an S. All right, that is what I have for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody later.